Hi everyone, this is Luisa Maria Hernandez, and I'm going to do a little exposure of my lesson plan. First, I wanna point out that my lesson plan it's only an introductory class for the real topic, which is the present perfect, which can be a really wide topic to use. And it's going to be focused and not so grown up adolescents, like in seventh, eighth grade. So I don't want to be really overwhelmed with a bunch of information. So yeah, the main focus or the main objective of this class is them to properly identify and to properly produce, to know the basic structure of the present perfect sentences. So it's gonna it's gonna begin with a song from Cher. You haven't seen the rest of me, which is a sentence in present perfect, and they're gonna listen in and they're gonna watch because it's a lyrics video. It's a video with the lyrics, so they're gonna watch what they hear. And they're going to listen to that twice, and they're going to write down the sentences they actually can identify or that they actually understand somehow. And then they will be given 2 minutes to identify the tense of each one of those sentences, whether it's in past, in present, or whatever. And at the end, the teacher is going to ask about the title of the song. How does that mean, and which time tense is that sentence? So they probably want to know. So this is where the real class it's going to begin. So first of all, it's gonna be drawn a timeline where it's going to be explained the relationship within the past and the present. So how those actions we begun in the past and haven't finished yet in the present are considered from the perfect present. So yeah, that's what's gonna be explained. And then the teacher will give some examples. The teacher will explain a little better the main structure of these tense, and the students will use this chart that I designed myself that has the three different forms of the verbs. We got the base form, the past, and the participle. So we got the participle, which is the main part here because it's the one we use when you're producing a present perfect sentence. So yeah, and so they're gonna use this part when they're exposing their examples because the teacher is gonna ask them out. So they're gonna use this part of the chart and they're gonna expose some verbs they find interesting or what they like to be used in some example, fitting in the main structure of the perfect present tense. Then now for practice, and they're gonna be hand over this little chart, which is I find pretty practical because it has examples of each form of the sentences in present perfect, and got in up here got some word that might be helpful, and out here they're going it's the main structure of the sentences in present perfect. So yeah, this is gonna be handed over to them so they can study and come to it when they need to remember what's the present perfect about and how can they produce sentences in each of these forms for the present perfect, and they are gonna use in the class as well because here it comes the exercise for the practice. They are going to use this guide of exercises which have these parts here which have some gaps they gotta fulfill, but it's different each because it is just this is just for filling with has of have respecting the personal pronoun. And no, I'm sorry. Firstly, the classes will be divided in groups of 5 people each, and they're gonna be given some verbs, and they're gonna be given some personal pronouns, and they gotta write the correct sentence in the present perfect form. And eventually, once they have done that, they're going to mimic those sentences in front of the students and in front of the other groups, and the group who guesses the most sentences, from out of the public, from the public, it's the one who wins. So everyone is going to participate, every group is going to participate in that game, and it lasts like 40 minutes. So it's going to be quite long for an activity of practice. And yeah, the main idea is to identify and they to be able to produce the sentences so they can produce as the same time as they guess and as they identify what does those sentences say, in which is the correct form of those sentences, whether regarding their personal pronouns and the verb. Then yes, eventually comes the produce part where come these exercises I explained before. This gap is for has or have, and this gap is for filling with has or have, but also with the verb, irregular verbs, most of them, and to write it down in the present in the participle form of the verb. And then they have these images that gonna work out as inspiration for them to write some sentences, one in negative, one in affirmative, and one in interrogative. They can choose the way they want to, which image will be corresponding each form of each sentence they are going to produce. And eventually for the assessment, the teacher is going to ask some questions about what they understood, to guess what they actually internalized, and to see the knowledge they have acquired throughout this whole classes, and with the whole amount of activities they have done regarding to present perfect tense. As I said before, it's just a class of introducement for this topic, and there are gonna be like 2 or 3 more classes to this topic, to dig into that topic a little more, so they can actually learn the proper way, not in such a rushing way, because they will forget eventually. And for the assignment, I'm just gonna go with the path of using songs as a tool for teaching, and I'm going to ask them to pick a song, the taste they want, the genre they want, of course in English, and they will identify within the lyrics of that song the verbs, the sentences that have a present perfect on it. So yeah, they gotta identify, they're gonna write down the whole lyrics of the song, and they have to identify the present perfect sentences of that song. So they gotta be really picky when picking out the song, because they gotta make sure that the song actually has a present perfect sentence, which is not that easy to find, and I realized that just now. So yeah, this is basically my lesson plan, the lesson I my purpose for a class, and that's it. Thank you.